Welcome back to another raw EDC video, where today I'll be doing another recipe in the Hawkins 1.5 litre Contura Black Pressure Cooker. So today I thought I would do something very traditional, and that is a Scotch Broth. Being from Scotland, I guess I should do something from Scotland this time, as I did an Irish stew, or at least an attempt to one the last time. What I have been sort of challenged, if you like, to do is to see if we can do the same recipes with the pressure cooker with the spirit burner in the Trangia. So what I've already started to do is I've put 450 mils of water into my kettle just to warm it up, and in thinking about that I could have actually been warming it up in here for the stock, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with this recipe by making our stock. I'm hopeful that you can hear me a little bit better. I've invested in a microphone, so fingers crossed it sounds a bit better now. So this is a lamb stock cube. That's going in there. I'm going to add the 450 mils of water. Remembering that this is a soup, so it's going to probably need all of that liquid. And what did I do with the simmer ring? Because I think I'm probably going to need the simmer ring. But in the meantime, I'm going to give it a bit of a snuff out. Save that fuel as much as I can. It's one full fill up of fuel that I've done there, and I'm going to stir in my stock cube. That looks like it's dissolved in almost perfectly there. One stock cube, 450 mils of water. Now what I've got here is pre-cut vegetables, because the whole idea of doing this today was just to try and get the spirit burner to work well with the pressure cooker. And in page 22 of the book you'll find the Scotch Broth recipe. Now this is the same cookbook that I showed in my last video, and you can get it online as a PDF as you can with other Hawkins cookbooks. So I'll put the link to that in the description again. What I have here is about 150 to 200 grams of mutton. I like a little bit more. It is just lamb that I've got here. 30 grams of pearl barley, which is about an ounce. There's a bit of carrot in here, some onion, some turnip. There is some celery in here. There is leeks in here, trying to remember. And that's pretty much it. I don't have any parsley with me, which it calls out for. And I'm sticking to the rule that you should not fill it more than 2/3 full, and also make sure you've got at least 240 mils of liquid in there. That's the two major rules here, which I think I've nailed. I'm quite happy with that. So the only thing I really have left to do is to add all the vegetables to here and the barley, and I'm also going to chop up the lamb. I think what I'll do now is, whilst I'm going to chop up my meat, I'm going to relight that Trangia spirit stove there, and I'm going to continue to heat up the broth with the vegetables. Now, I nearly forgot, this doesn't go on this way. As I showed you in my last video, I modified a 7-inch air fryer ring. It's a ring that goes inside an air fryer, and that helps to keep it away the right distance from the burner. Now, quite happy that that's burning away there nicely now, so I can put the pressure cooker on top, and that'll start to warm up the vegetables as well as my pre-warmed up stock. I do expect this to get a little bit tricky to do as we continue on with the recipe, and that the burner may be at too high a temperature and the pressure cooker might be whistling far too often. But we'll just have to play it by ear and see how we get on. Today I'm using the Rough Rider sous chef knife. It's actually quite a good chef knife for camp use. Easy to use. I'm just going to go straight ahead and add my meat as I go, as I get it cut. Trim off some of this fat again. Quite a fatty piece of lamb this. Inch cubes I'm thinking is probably going to be suitable, so get them added to the pot. I'm not going to add as much fat as that. No, that's just not pleasant. But we'll do what we can with what we've got. As I say, more of an experiment today. So there we go. We can now start getting that pressure cooker up to temperature. Give it a little stir, make sure everything's far enough down. And at what normally you do in a medium temperature, I'm going to do on fully open spirit burner, just to make sure that we get up to that operating temperature, and then we can worry about reducing it. So as before, it's quite straightforward. You tilt the lid away from you and put it into the pan, bringing it around like this, making sure you've made a seal. You should start with this off, pressure weight, which I kept getting the name for wrong the last time. And what we'll now do is wait for a show of steam and spitting at the tip here. So we're currently sitting at around about 2 minutes since I started up with the lid on, trying to build up that pressure. Fingers crossed we actually get there, and there's enough heat to do so. I believe there will be. There's a moderate wind today, so there is a breeze coming through to the Trangia, which I think might even help a little bit. It's not as windy as it would cause problems. We've been very fortunate that Hawkins cookers have reached out to us and given a 20% discount if you use the discount code in the link I'll put into the description, and I'll put it on the screen as well. So look forward to maybe trying this yourself. I'm still not seeing a show. Oh, and just as I said that, there's a bubble there. So we'll be able to put the lid, keep wanting to call it a lid, the pressure weight on now, the vent weight, and very soon we should have, I can hear that hissing, we should get our first whistle or vent of steam. Just arm myself with this. I have a feeling we're going to have to take it off the stove and bring it down here to get the simmer ring on. As I say, it's the first time I've done this. It's a bit of an experiment, and we'll start our 20-minute cooking time from when we get our first steam. So 3 minutes and 20 seconds approximately till I put on the vent weight. So that's not too bad. So arguably it's going to be about 23 minutes, all being well. I can certainly hear that steam beginning to build up in there. So we're getting very close. Might have been a little bit premature with the weight. I can certainly feel the heat coming off that, which is welcome because it's only about 5 degrees here today. Beginning to hear a lot more happening now. Certainly some fizzing there. Don't want to interfere with it. I don't want to lose that build-up of pressure inside. But I can definitely see the steam really starting to come out of here now. It's coming up for 5 minutes. So that's actually quite a long time. A lot longer than when I used the gas. It was much, much quicker than this. I can't remember. I think it was only about 2 minutes, to be fair. There was less liquid the last time. But I've got liquid showing at this side. That means it's evaporating and condensating on the top and starting to come out the top a little bit as it's meant to do. So that's good. I do think that that first steam is not far away, and then that will be proof that the spirit burner does indeed get us up to temperature. But will it give us 20 minutes of cooking time? And will I be able to regulate it as well with the simmer ring? I think it's about to go. I know I've already said that, but I really do think it's going to go this time. I can smell the lamb stock. I can smell the onions. I can definitely smell something oniony, leek, onion. The good thing is I can go away and do something else because I won't miss it. Come on, you can do it. Ah, there it goes. Good. So, it's good to have a stopwatch ready. 20 minutes starting now. I want to get that steaming, that venting down to at least every 15 seconds. which it's kind of doing. So we did have a slight issue off camera there. It's a little bit disappointing that I missed it, to be fair. What happened was I could tell that the liquid coming out with the steam did have soup in it, and I think that that was probably not advisable. And again, a little bit maybe down to me not managing the recipe very well. I thought I'd stuck to the 2/3, but it turns out that I hadn't. I was over it by a good little bit there. So what I did was quite simple and straightforward. Took it off the heat, gave the pan a little bit of a clean, gave it a chance to cool down. You can actually vent off as long as you've got a glove on or something long to pull up on here with, and maybe a dishcloth or something over your hand, or a glove, and you can vent off the steam yourself. Let it cool down, and then I opened it up and took off some of the liquid. Now I probably took off around about 150 mils, maybe close to 200, and a few of the vegetables. I left all my lamb in though. That's 12 seconds between them. Should be about 15, so it's a little bit fast. I'm going to attempt the simmer ring if it gets any quicker. So as it's at 11 seconds, what I'm going to do, with a glove on, just in case it vents steam again, I'm just going to remove this, just as I said it would. So that's fine, as long as you protect your hands, it's fine. And I'm going to attempt to put the simmer ring on here. I don't know how much to remove it or reduce it by, and I'll have to be quick because I don't want to lose that temperature. Again, I'm not that familiar with the Trangias either. I'm doing this obviously very careful with a glove on, getting that simmer ring down on there, and that certainly does look like it's going to reduce it nicely. Don't want it to be too much. Open it up again, and then, of course, with our ring on there, and get that back on the heat. All this time doesn't affect your cooking time. All that you're doing here is adjusting the temperature. You could be doing with this with a gas, and I think that's probably going to be my preferred method because you get far better control rather than having to lift the pan out and adjust the simmer ring. But I think we're proving here that it can be done, and we're still on that same fill of fuel. So fingers crossed, at least getting a 20-minute-ish recipe out of it is possible. Now when that first vent starts up again, I'm going to aim for 15 seconds between them. I just hope with that simmer ring on, it's not too low a temperature to maintain the pressure in there. I seem to have attracted a bumblebee. That's been about 3 minutes with the simmer ring on, and I don't think it's getting back up to temperature. We still have steam showing, so there's definitely pressure in there, but I haven't had a show of steam in over 3 minutes now. Just wondering if maybe the simmer ring with no closure would be enough. I've got it on about just less than quarter just now. Do I risk taking the pan off again? I think I will. Just opening that simmer ring to full. So that's full bore with a simmer ring on. Remembering that all this is very hot and you should only use heat resistant gloves. These are excellent for this. You get a short period of time, and let's get this back on the heat with the simmer ring.
Hiss. Hiss. Okay, you've figured it out. There's no sound to this part of the video. Unfortunately, I did not realise that with these new microphones, you cannot plug in your phone to charge whilst you're using the microphone, which is a little bit disappointing, but I now know and I won't make that mistake in the future. In this part of the video, I'm explaining that I waited for the temperature to subside and the pressure inside the pan to lower and reduce to make it safe to open. Also at this point is when I opened it up carefully so that the pan lid doesn't dip down into the food. As you see here. Yes, well done, Richard. Steam coming out nicely. And oh, my first disappointment. This is where I realised that there was too many vegetables, too much barley, and I'd probably taken off too much of the liquid. I did realise, however, that I'd made a wonderful Scotch broth stew, and it was absolutely fantastic. The texture was great, the barley was cooked beautifully, and the vegetables were nice and soft. As this was an experiment, just to prove that you can indeed use the spirit burner with the Trangia, with the 1.5 litre Hawkins pressure cooker, I think it was a bit of a success, despite the food maybe not being exactly what it was meant to be. More care I would normally take with the recipes, and certainly in the future I'm looking forward to trying some other ones and taking more care and taking down the ratios. But I'll be happy to maybe use the spirit burner again. You can see that there is quite a bit of soot on the Hawkins, which cleaned off very easily with soap and water. And of course you can see I'm demonstrating the texture of the food there, and the, of course, lamb which was falling apart. The overall cooking time, from heating up the stock, putting it all together, warming up all the ingredients together, waiting for the temperature to come up, and then for the actual cooking time whilst it was venting off, was around about 18 minutes all in, which I think is quite good. I'm really quite happy with that. So definitely safe to say that it cooks meals very quickly. The meat in this is literally shredding apart into small pieces, which is just fantastic. Gonna give it a try. Oh yes, very happy with that. A little disappointed it's not soup. But wow, that lamb is just falling apart. So I'm very much looking forward to trying a curry, which I think would be very good in it. I've probably put too much barley in this. It's certainly soaked up a lot of the liquid. And of course the incident earlier that I explained where I was maybe losing some of the liquid as well. Perhaps just with using a smaller pressure cooker, as I said, maybe a little bit too tricky. But I've proven that we can use the spirit burner in the Trangia. I prefer the gas burner, and I've been able to control that temperature so much better. I might not have lost the liquid as well. So Trangia works well, gas works well, the 1.5 litre Hawkins works well. And please take a look at their website, the link's in the description, and use that code Richard20 to get 20% off. Happy shopping, and thank you very much for watching this video.